Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Anna Yudin. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology and also an author. And today I want to talk about why your compromises might not feel fair. So the reason I think a lot of people don't perceive their negotiations or their compromises in relationships as being fair is that they treat negotiations as like a 50-50 compromise. But most people don't care about something an equal amount. Compromise is only really fair if both parties care about something the same amount. For instance, let's say that you want ice cream and your partner doesn't want to go get ice cream. If both of you care a little bit about it, that's very different from you really wanting ice cream. You had a really bad day. You really need to go get ice cream. And your partner is just kind of on the fence about it. If you just meet in the middle with something like that, then of course you're going to feel like you're losing in the negotiation. I'll give you another example. Let's say that you really want to live somewhere hot and your partner really wants to live somewhere cold. If both of you are, 5 out of 10 in terms of how much you want this thing, then meeting halfway and living somewhere kind of lukewarm could be a good compromise. But what if instead you have Raynaud's disease, which makes your extremities really cold? Then living somewhere warm might seem a lot more important to you than living somewhere cold seems to your partner. Not everyone cares about a specific situation an equal amount. The compromise has to also consider how much each person cares about the construct in question if it's truly going to be egalitarian. Okay, here's another example. This is something that I actually heard from like a real couple a few years ago. So at the time, one of these people was in grad school and she would come home really exhausted at like 9 p.m. after a 12-hour work week. And she wanted for her boyfriend to have dinner, to clean around the house, all these different things. Her boyfriend, on the other hand, perceived things differently. He perceived it as, well, I just want to relax. So why do I have to do these things? It's not fair to me. Now, in this case, what might to her boyfriend seem like just something he doesn't really want to do could mean the world to her in that situation. And so a fair compromise in this situation would be more towards the boyfriend picking up more of the slack. Let me give you another example. There are a lot of interfaith couples where one person is very religious and the other person is not very religious. And so in negotiating, okay, do we have a religious ceremony for our wedding? How do we raise our children? Oftentimes, the person that's not that religious, by nature of the fact that they don't care as much about the thing in question, ends up giving a bigger compromise. And that would be fair in this situation. Now, if you have a very religious person and a very atheist person who feels very strongly about their atheism, then it would make more sense to meet in the middle because both parties care very strongly about the thing in question. If this is something that you struggle with, if you often feel kind of shorted by your compromises in relationships, when you're negotiating this stuff, get really clear about how much you care about that thing and how much the other person cares about that thing. Ask them to put it on a scale from 0 to 10 how much they care about it. And do the same for yourself and see, is there one party that feels just a lot more strongly that would be shorted by a negotiation that just meets in the middle? Now here's a caveat. There are some people out there who chronically feel very strongly about things all the time. And they might be playing it up because they've learned they get their way if they do that. They might be a really intense person that just brings a lot of intensity and passion to every situation. Or they might just be very stubborn, where they're not very easily swayed by negotiations. So if you're noticing that with certain people in your life, they care very strongly about everything. Everything has to be their way. Everything is a 9 or 10 out of 10 in terms of how much they care about it. Then it might be time to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Because at that point, it's probably not about this person genuinely valuing this thing that you're currently negotiating more than they value other things. It's probably more to do with the type of personality that they have. And if that's the case, it's not really fair to you to always give more from yourself to appease somebody that feels very strongly about everything. So here's the general takeaway of today's video. When you're compromising, the best compromise isn't 50-50. The best compromise also considers how much both parties care about the thing in question. So in negotiations, also try to consider how much each of you has at stake in the situation and try to find something that meets halfway between how much both of you care about it rather than halfway in terms of what you want. If you both do this, in the end, you're both going to feel a lot happier with the way that these negotiations go. But if you often find yourself negotiating with someone that feels very strongly about things, then it might be worth examining, okay, do they actually feel strongly about this? Or do they feel strongly about everything? Or are they just playing it up to get a leg up in the negotiation? I hope this was helpful. If it was helpful, I would love it if you could give a like, engage with this video in some way, whether that means leaving a comment with your thoughts or sending it to someone who might benefit from it. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Hi, just want to mention I have a new relationship skills course out called the Connection Course. It contains over 4 hours or 252 minutes of 15 lectures, as well as 20 pages of handouts. We're talking journaling prompts, exercises, homework assignments, and a community forum where you can ask other students and myself questions about the course or helping apply some of the exercises if you're struggling with them. This course goes into all the foundational skills of healthy relationship that I think are important for people to have, like communication skills, understanding what healthy relationships are, what are the ingredients of healthy love, emotion regulation, how to keep your relationship positive, attachment style, boundaries, conflict management, how to recognize unhealthy relationships, how to end unhealthy relationships, self-assessments, and more. So if this sounds like something that would be helpful to you, I'm going to include a link to it at the very top of the description box of this video. Check it out, it is on LearnWorlds, and I have pay over time options as well.